All right. Well, this is a wonderful time that we're actually having a lot of celebration, and I welcome you, Thane, to because you are participating in the Imaginist um, fairy tales, fables, and folklore. I get them mixed up every once in a while.
Mhm.
So, what is it that you bring? Why did Sharon choose you to be in the showcase of world builders? What do you do in the world?
So, what I'm doing is understanding that we have a lack of good, healthy food. The population is obviously expanding at a phenomenal rate. We have a soil situation around the world with all the chemicals and everything that are put into the soils. And we also have a water deprivation that's going on where we just don't have enough water. And what I'm doing is I'm utilizing the agricultural way of growing called aquaponics that's been around for about 1500 years. The Mayans used to do it. And with all of our technology and everything that we have, we're able to grow in a closed environmental system or arena that we're using 90 to 95% less water in aquaponics.
Wow.
The only water loss is uh, evaporation and any transpiration because it's a closed circuit system and it just continues to recycle the water over and over again. And in that way, we're obviously not using the soils at all. We're able to, depending on what's being grown in my particular project, I'm growing obviously aquaponically, but I'm going to be growing a lot of microgreens and different mushrooms. And whenever the substrate of the mushrooms or the soil of the microgreens is spent, then that has ecto mycorrhizal fungi is going to go back to the soils to help regenerate them for the different things that aren't traditionally grown in aquaponics, like different citrus trees,
Wow.
fruit trees, corn, but all of the things like any root crops, any leafy greens, all of the many thousands of types of lettuce and bok choys and kales and things like that are able to be grown aquaponically and at a phenomenal rate as well. That way we're saving on the soils. In aquaponics, you also don't use any synthetic fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, things like that. You can't use them because they will affect the fish and or the bacteria, and most importantly, you after eating the product.
Absolutely. And that's been a big concern because there's so much of the soil is so badly depleted now, and it hasn't been shepherded the right way, to
Mhm.
make sure that we're getting really good foods. And that's been such a huge issue for us for a long time.
Yes.
So it's something you do here in the local Phoenix area?
I do that, yes, here in the Phoenix area. I've been doing it for 15 plus years now. I've installed systems in several schools and helping to educate the kids on how to do that, different residents. I was a lead developer in excuse me, Bugari, Uganda, Africa, on a big project out there and showing them the self-sustainability of growing aquaponically. So it literally can be done all over the world.
That's amazing. When my daughters were little, we did that kind of gardening, And it was so much fun. I homeschooled them, and that was part of their their learning part of what they did. So they got exposure, and we grew a lot of things that way. It was pretty full. It was really fun.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what about the larger growing type of areas? Like I see some kind of like greenhouses along the 303. I live out in Goodyear, and along the 303, you see these big, they're new structures, but they're more greenhouse looking.
Yeah, so that's the idea behind aquaponics, is being in uh, a closed environmental atmosphere where you're controlling the water temperature that goes to the roots, which is the most important, and then you're able to control the different pests and different things that could get into your crops. A lot of the different greenhouses that are seen around, though, people are growing hydroponically, which is different from aquaponics. And I've grown in every way possible that you can grow. And my big concern is, like, the Phoenix area is on a level 3 a water crisis right now. And there's just not enough water to go around. And even in aquaponics and aeroponics, maybe during the initial phase of growing, yeah, they're using less water. But whenever you have to put in the man-made chemicals, the pH ups, the pH downs, all the different nutrient and everything, just from experience, your system builds up with salts, and salts will end up killing your plants.
Mhm.
And in that regard, you have to get rid of that water, refill the water. So dump 100% of the water, refill the water, add the chemicals in so that you have all the proper balances of everything you need in order to feed the plants. And aquaponics, once again, you're using, the only water loss is to evaporation and transpiration. There's no need to continue to dump the water, or in traditional agricultural growing, whenever you just go outside and you water your plants outside, how much of that water are you getting back? And it's 0%, which is the same way with aeroponics and hydroponics, which is so much different with, obviously, aquaponics. And that's why I've fallen in love with aquaponics, and have seen great growth with it. It grows substantially faster because of the higher natural nitrate content in the water that's going to the plants. And that water just continues to get regenerated over and over and over again without having to dump anything out and refill.
That is amazing. So do you have systems like this for that are small enough for just for home use?
They are, there are systems for home use. I've built a lot for home use. Through my experience over the 15 plus year period that I've been doing this, the interest is lost with people. And I've worked with companies who build plug and play aquaponic systems, and the interest gets lost because of the work that is needed to put in and make sure the system is balanced. And if you have no experience in growing aquaponically and know what to look for, and through sight, through sound, through different things that I've learned in my time, the systems can go awry, and people just, they don't have the experience enough to continue to do that. So what I'm going to be doing is growing on a very large scale to be able to provide for different residents, and whenever you go to restaurant chefs, so that you are consuming the absolute best product with the highest nutrient, the highest antioxidant content, which is all proven scientifically. You have a higher antioxidant content in aquaponically grown food than any other food that is grown in other traditional ways of growing.
That's beautiful. Well, I see why Sharon has said you're a world builder.
Mhm.
It's such a, it's really amazing that you had the foresight to do this. It would be great to get a whole bunch of people doing this so that we, all over the world, that could be really making a big difference in the foods that we're eating.
Yeah. And once again, that's the reason why I want to go large scale where I'm producing. I would love to be in. I've only found a few companies around the world, only one in the United States that is growing substantially. One place is growing at a rate of about 18.6 million pounds annually of produce. They're also producing 100, almost 200,000 pounds of edible fish. So Atlantic salmon and steelhead. So
Wow.
we also have the protein content as well. And just to be able to provide that for people and on a, in a way that makes, everything these days that we see with Amazon and Uber Eats and these different places, it's how to get the product to the consumer without the consumer really needing to do a lot of work.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that people get is just it's got oil-based insecticides and pesticides, and they in their mind they're washing it off when they wash it off under the sink, or when they get veggie wash from Sprouts or some of these markets to wash their produce. But I've proven time and time again with the particular product that I have that you aren't getting that stuff off. You're still consuming all of those insecticides and pesticides and synthetic fertilizers that get put in the different soils and on the outsides of the plants. And it's no wonder there's such a high probability of sickness and disease that we have all over the country. And
Absolutely.
trying to get things back to way God intended for you to consume foods is without all of these chemicals and different things put on the product.
I totally agree. And this is just so encouraging to hear that there's somebody out there doing this.
Yes. And the beautiful thing with my product or my project is it's called Global Aquaponic Project.org. And I'm able to give back to the less fortunate through, I have a parent company, and then I have a nonprofit 501c3 arm. And with that, I'm able to, like I said, to give back to the less fortunate and the people who maybe can't afford different product and produce.
That's beautiful. I have somebody I want you to meet, and I think I've mentioned him a couple of times to Sharon, but I think it would be a real good, interesting blend and conversation that we're doing. I'm involved in Givers University, and there's some pretty cool stuff that they're doing, and also auto tithing type of thing.
Mhm.
But his big concern, he's been working on a project for about 30 years.
Mhm.
With nutrient dense foods. So
Mhm.
a lot of interesting things from this conversation. I really applaud you that you have the caring and the foresight to bring something like this to our world.
Yeah, and the drive. I am
Yes.
extremely passionate about what I do. Um, it's just been a calling to me that this is what I need to do, and I need to get it out and get it around the world. And that's the reason why I chose Global Aquaponic Project instead of Arizona Aquaponic Project, because I want to go global on this, and I definitely foresee myself doing that in the future and making a difference in the world in all aspects. I mean, it even cuts down on the carbon footprint, where the majority of our product is coming in from an average of 1,500 miles away. I mean, some comes in from, say, us being here in Arizona, some comes in from Yuma and different places close by, but that's only 3 months out of the year.
Right.
And then the rest of it has to start coming from overseas. So being able to cut down on the carbon footprint by having locations uh, uh, scattered or set correctly through the United States to begin with, and then eventually around the world, so that everybody has access to this high quality food.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing. This has been truly exciting to hear this because we've many of us have known for a long time that our foods are not the quality that they should be, and we see a lot of people, especially as we start getting into our 50s, 60s, where our health really is taking a huge toll, and it's because we're not getting our hands on the really good foods.
Could you imagine being able to consume food and not have to consume prescription drugs because of different ailments and everything that you have, and now be able to just consume good food that is going to rid you of all these different ailments?
I certainly could. That would be amazing. Totally
Yeah.
amazing. Wow. Thank you for the work that you do in this world. And that's why Sharon says you're a world builder.
Yeah.
Very good. What a beautiful interview. And thank you for taking the time to meet with us today.
Well, thank you, Becky. I really appreciate your time.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your day. And I know I met you or probably saw you at the wedding, probably never spoke to you because there was so much
Mhm.
going on, but look forward to getting to know you better.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to getting to know you as well.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Becky. Bye-bye.